Welcome back, friends of the shop. What do you say we do an old school tabletop review on some of my favorite German-made tools? We're going to be doing a few videos on my favorite or the best German-made tools on Amazon. You know, I was so excited to share this with you, and of course, you know, we love our German-made tools. They're just about the finest, and I looked to the back and I was a little dismayed to read this. What does that say? It says made in the Czech Republic. But we're going to go ahead and do it because this is a German company, and you know how they are. They leave nothing to chance. When I was the superintendent back in the day, I was building $1 million Hugo Boss store. I was the construction superintendent. They didn't even trust Americans to do the millwork. They actually brought their own carpenters over. So when we see the Austrian Glocks and the American ones, and you know, there's no difference. So they keep a pretty tight rein on stuff. So we're going to go ahead and give them a pass on this. But this is a cool little tool. I came across this because, unfortunately, I lost my toolkit that I keep on the back of my motorcycles and snow bikes, and I had spent 10 years developing that, getting the smallest, lightest weight stuff I could find. And I was so sad when I lost that. There was so much work that went into that. So I came across this little guy, and I opened it up last night, and it gave me the fizz big time. So we're going to do a video on this. So this, man, I absolutely love this thing. I want to show you my favorite part first off, before we get into it. Look at this little ratchet. You see that? Fine tooth, listen. 6-degree fine tooth ratchet with knurling on the side. Oh man, isn't that the coolest thing? Look. Now this was currently my favorite of my German tools, the little Knipex 311160. If you want a pair of precision pliers, needle nose, with no texture on the inside, man, to have these by your bench to do little tiny fiddly projects, these are absolutely my favorite. Let's take a look inside of this, and we find out what quality is when we dig into these things. So there's a little spring clip on here. Whoops, got the wrong tool. Wrong tool for the wrong job. 6-degree fine tooth ratchet is exceedingly fine. I'll get this in here. We may pull this little clip off of here. What's the chance of me losing this clip and it go flying away? Let's say pretty high. You can always tell where they cut corners when you get into it. Yeah, there it is. Look at that. Look at those fine teeth. There's nothing like a fine tooth ratchet. Most ratchets are so coarse that if you ever ran into working in confined spaces where you have to move it so far to get the next tooth that it bumps into something and you end up you can't use it at all. That's where the fine tooth comes in, and look how fine those are. Beautifully made, nicely finished, lots of grease inside. Let's see the little pawl in here. Ratchets are quite simple. There's not a whole lot to them. There's probably only like 5 pieces to this. There's the gear. So this rocks back and forth. This is so small I might lose it. And you can see on here that it comes in contact with those little teeth. And then as you rock it this way, it goes this way and then bites and so on and so forth. But that's how that lays in there. And then you can see in here, in the body, will be a small spring. Hopefully this is focusing right here. A little spring of the plunger on it right there that will be connected to the handle. But a lot of detail in this. You know, I mean, that is a tiny, tiny little piece. I mean, just look at it compared to my fingernail there. And here you have you have texturing on there. You have the company's name on there. I can see right here on the pawl itself. It even, with my old eyes, you can, you know, it's got their name on it. So that, you know, that tells you a lot. Where things don't matter, where no one's ever going to see, they've got the 1/4 inch and all of the part number and the name on there. I mean, that's, you don't see that on Chinesium. So the Germans, they definitely know how to build tools. Okay, to reassemble this, we should just put that back in there, and then oh, it's very precise. It feels like a watch winding. It's gorgeous. this on, this clip on there. Yeah, so it's fully serviceable. If you were to break this, I mean, look at all the laser marked etchings in there, all that on there. If you broke this, you could repair it. What a great little ratchet, though. Man, I could go 10 minutes on this alone. Everything, what I've noticed with the German tools, they just leave nothing to chance. How about the case? You know, most of the stuff when you get a case for these type of tools, whether it be like, you know, the DeWalt's or domestics and stuff, it's kind of a throwaway thing, and, you know, they end up breaking and not working, not really that well thought out. This is brilliantly thought out. Everything's going to stay compact in there. You've got a sliding lock that locks that ratchet in there. And look at this. Here's the extension. And that acts to go, and you push that all the way, and it pushes the extension out. So you can get your fingers on that and hold that. Now check this out. So all of your little bits, which we'll get into here, you're going to have, oh, look at this. I didn't even notice that. You push this button. There's actually a button right there that locks with an arrow telling you. And then you open up all of your bits. And you can bet these from this brand, what's the name of it? Wura? Is it Wura? Yeah, Wura. I have their screwdrivers. They're super, super nice, really technically really nice. And their Phillips bits bite as good as Snap-on do. Really, really good. But this is cool. So you can take, let's say you're going to use a number 2 Phillips. And it goes in this way. And that's going to lock in there. So that's going to work really good in a confined space. And you've got the ratcheting option. Use this extension to get a little bit more reach. And this has a spring-mounted head on it. So when you pull this forward, I love good engineering. Pull this forward and it locks and it sets itself up. So when you put your bits in, you push that, now it locks it into place and it won't come out. When you want to release it, that is very, very nice. Look at that click. It's very satisfying. So now you have a small extension. Now check this out. You think the ratchet was small. We've got a ratchet extension, or a screwdriver handle right there. So look how small that guy is. That's that's the tiniest little nut driver screwdriver that I've ever seen, and that's all going to work together as well. So if you needed to extend this guy, that's magnetic. You know, you can actually get, you know, a decent size. It's not super long, but you get a decent sized screwdriver there that you can use with just by a handle or with a ratchet. They kind of missed the mark on, they kind of missed an opportunity. If what would have been really cool is to have had a 1/4-inch receiver in there and an adapter where you could have snapped an adapter in here and used this together like this as one unit. Now that would have been the ticket. Then you'd have a really good extension with a handle on it, but they didn't do that. That's too bad. But this is pretty small stuff, pretty small work. Yeah, this would be really ideal for something light, super lightweight, like a motorcycle, for example. All right, so those are the main tools, and I just love the way they stow in here. Yeah, that won't come out. You got to release it like that. Put the bits back in here. Love it. Absolutely love it. You can tell it's nice plastic too. It's going to last a long time. Okay, so what we have here is we've got a set of sockets. We'll get 5.5 millimeter, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to 13. You know, that's really, if you're a professional homeowner, you need not be working on anything bigger than 13 millimeter, or you're only going to get in trouble and you're going to have to call someone to help you out. So it's a pretty good basic kit. But in honesty, that is 90. I have to work on metric a lot because I've got Japanese and I've got some German stuff, and the new cars are all metric. This really does 90% of the heavy lifting, unless you're getting into suspension and brakes where you have to get into, you know, 15, 17 millimeter. But for most things, just household things, that's going to run the entire gamut. The 5.5 I've never used. I don't have a metric socket smaller than that, and I've never needed one. Your bread and butter is going to be your 6, 8, and your 10, and your 13. Color coordinated. Hello, Snap-on. How come you don't do that? When you're underneath the car and you're looking and you're for sockets and they all look the same, how about having a color coding on there? And over time, you know, you're going to learn what that is. When you see the teal green there, you're going to know that's the 13. When you see the pink, it's going to be the 8, right? Man, that makes sense. And these are the good clips. You know, like these are the same clips you get from like the Snap-on retention deals that I use on my other kit. And they've got a nice knurling on them. And why is that important? Well, it's really important when you want to spin a socket. So you can use these guys. You've got a little 1/4-inch adapter here. That's going to go into your ratchet. That should lock in there. I'm wondering if when I took that apart, if I didn't ruin something. I thought that locked in there. Maybe it just slips in there. But you've got a knurling on the back right there, so you can turn that with your finger. So when you have something that's loose and you don't want to go slowly, do it like this, you can reach down there and you can grab it and you can turn that. But the same principles here, or the same principle here on their sockets. When you get up that in there, gives you some traction and you can turn that. That's really nice to have. Excellent. Did you know, so this little detent ball in there, that's just a little spring, and all of your extensions, most everything I've seen them all have those. Those are supposed to line up with a hole in the socket right there. You see that? If you really want them to hold good. So a lot of guys don't realize that. Now, it doesn't mean you can't put it this way or the other way, because if you look inside there, you'll see that they have indeed, there's a little dish there to receive those. But well, you know, if you have one that really needs to stay on there and you're worried about dropping it like down in a hole somewhere, that'll give you a little bit of extra retention on there. So that's the adapter, that 1/4-inch, so you can go through all of your little sockets. And I like the knurling and I like the color coordinating. That's really helpful. You get the perfect array of bits, the things that a guy's going to need. You know, starting with the 1/4-inch adapter, and kind of a nice bonus here is these guys. These are Torx. So our biggest one here is a 30, down to the little tiny one, which is a TX10, and everything in between. And these give you the safety Torxes. Now, when manufacturers don't want you mucking around with their stuff, they'll use this sort of Torx, not this one, because most guys are going to have these, but you cannot get a fastener loose that has that safety Torx in it. What it has is it has a little nipple that sticks up that prevents these from seating. Like on Jeeps, when I used to do them, they were trying to keep guys out of the ignition system, and they had a little tiny, like a T15 or maybe it was a 10, and you had to buy the special one and had a hard time hunting it down. So you have all those right now. You can use these for normal Torx. They're not as strong, but you want to save those. And then these are your normal ones here, and that goes up to 40. So you've got your T10 up to your T40. Here you've got your Allens. And everything is labeled. You've got your, how small do those go? I'm assuming these are metrics there. Is that maybe 3 millimeter? 3 millimeter up to 8. And there's not going to be any, this is going to be metric only, so do know that. And why I bought this was I'm not going to use all of these, but I'm going to rob most of these tools, the little ratchet and the nut driver and the extension, to put in my motorcycle bag, and then I won't use the majority of these right here. But I will take the Allens and I will take the Torx, because I use those. So you got all your Torx, and then you've got your Allens, one flat bladed, and then you've got 3 sets, excuse me, 2 sets of Phillips. And these are the little number 1s, number 2s, and one number 3. Now, I don't really know the difference between these, the silver ones and the gold ones, other than they have like a little extra, I don't know, it's a little section of steel in there, and I don't know if that's an improved Phillips or if that's a proprietary thing. Maybe it's just an enhanced Phillips. I don't know, but those are gold in color. And there's a number 3, a number 2, and a number 1 of those also. Yeah, and that makes up the kit. I guess I was thinking about this thing, what would really been cool if this would have flipped out, and when you're working on your workbench, you could flip that out and have that kind of hold up here, and where you can access everything. But I think it's for a belt loop, because I pulled on it. It doesn't look like it wants to. Oh, it does. No, that's definitely a belt loop. Yeah, that does not flip out right there. So I don't know how useful that is. This is a pretty big thing to hang on the side of your belt. I don't know that that's going to work, but on the edge of a tool tray like I use, you could hang that on there and that would work just fine. But this is a cool little unit. And I guess that's about all there is to that. I ordered this to replace, as I said, what I lost, and when I had sourced a high quality little 1/4 inch drive and a nut driver and an extension, I was already at like 55 bucks. And so I found this, and these are 75 currently when I purchased mine, and then you're getting German quality, you're getting top of the line stuff. So it made sense to me, and I was expecting it to be bigger. I was surprised how small it was, but after I got it, that little Ratchet, I was actually quite delighted. This is half the size of what I had before. This is actually going to be better. And the other stuff I'd bought off the Snap-on truck, and I'll have 4 times, 5 times the cost into it, and this I think is actually a better fit for me. I'll put a link to this down in the subject heading. I'll pin it to the top comment. You can go comment. You can go take a look at it. I checked the ratings on this. The guys had a full 5-star rating, so everyone that has these really likes them. But man, what a great compact unit to throw in a tool bag, glove box. You really do have lots of capability there and a great, smart little case. And it definitely gives me the fizz. It's now my favorite German German tool. All right, well, thanks for watching. May God bless you and your families. Please keep us in your prayers, and we'll see you all on the next video.